Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Dead Space 2. Now, I've pretty much determined that I'm fairly certain it's not Dead Space 2's fault that my computer keeps locking up and all of the USB devices, including the microphone and the controller and my mouse and keyboard, all keep just soft locking, hard locking, I don't know. The USB devices don't work, but I have a backup keyboard that will work. So now, at least, I don't think footage will be lost. Let's go ahead and use this health pack. So, I'm fairly certain it's the Windows 10 April update. So I uninstalled it. And then delayed updates for Windows 10, which you can only do for a certain amount of time. And then I accidentally clicked the button to undelay updates, which then immediately downloaded the April update again. So now I'm under pressure, certainly, to finish this game before I reboot my computer. Because if I reboot it, well, I can reboot it without it installing the update, but I think it's going to try and reboot itself eventually, too. Let's see. So let's just look here as we're getting back into the game. Let's see. There's kind of nothing here that gives a real indication of like what you're supposed to do. So, but what I'm fairly certain you're supposed to do, I'm trying to think if maybe there's another solution to this. I don't think I'm going to get up in this area. I think I'm just going to grab his body and telekinesis his body in front of the door. Which this is a cool idea. Probably only needs to be done once. So that's kind of gross, and it kind of makes sense. We did that once with a power grid before. I guess we're gonna deal with holograms, or perhaps this hologram is here to distract us from being attacked. We probably could have had a hologram.
Auto defenses activated. Station Watchman Howard Phillips, please provide verbal access code to authorize your guest.
Oh, geez, what am I supposed to do here? I assume these are lasers that would hurt me. Okay, well these I guess are just one and done things. Interesting. So you gotta be kind of careful with them. I guess more careful than when I was being.
Your rig is not authorized to access this area. Please step away from the door.
Just gonna hit B and use the health item.
Recognized. Greetings, Station Watchman Howard Phillips. I hope you slept well.
So let's just see what happens. Now let's see. Is there something that can be shot to activate these? Doesn't seem like it. So instead I'm just gonna do that, I guess. Just telekinesis it. His body certainly is not doing the best of jobs. And we're losing. He's lost all his limbs at this point. You can just walk through the hologram. And I'm just gonna put him on the other side of this. We have a slow crawling xenomorph. And these things, like, I can shoot them, and then we're gonna get up in an area. Oops, I just hit my alternate fire there and blew myself up on that one. It's been probably a day or two since I've been playing this game, and even in that short time, like in that really short time, we've already run into a lack of just coming back to the game quickly. And I imagine that part of the reason for that is just how these controls are just a little awkward. Like they're not by default what I would have expected them to be. Alright. So when I walk forward, it's going to activate a security system. And let's see, apparently I can't use this elevator right now. Why is it just counting up in a number? What does that number mean? So yeah, I'm not 100% sure what this does. It seems like the holograms just see you and activate security systems. And in doing that, I released something or several things. Or babies. Could be all over the place, trying to kill me, and I'm just not warmed up for this. I really am not. And that's certainly a weird position to be in for any video game, is to just recognize that sometimes you're gonna have to come back and relearn actions. See, clearly that's a room I want to get into, but first things first, let's see if we can go anywhere else or shoot anything else. There's a workbench up there. This is the solar array that we're trying to activate to get power to the tram. Just trying to have to remind myself of what we're doing and why we're doing it. This feels like this is going to be a smaller section of gameplay. Like, looking at this, we got a text log. Let's see. I don't know if I read that log right as I was skimming it. It seemed to maybe imply that this guy knew a little bit more about the political things happening in the background. So I'm going to activate this. I imagine this is going to cause a fight and let me use the elevator. And might as well hit B too. Actually, I hit B at the wrong time there. So you can hit B to get out of these minigames.
Attention, Watchman Howard Phillips. Unauthorized engagement of access lift detected. Please respond.
And so it's just like straight up watching you hack. And if this AI can tell all of this, like if it can really tell all this, there's definitely some questions. Like, I had the thing in front of me, and because I had the thing in front of me, I couldn't even see the necromorph right there about to attack me. Here's an unfortunate thing, that these aliens look a little close to a terrible movie that was made called Tusk. I'm not sure if maybe the art director who figured that out, who made the suit for Tusk, had seen this at some point. I mean, you can't really assume anything. I mean, both are taking the ideas from nature, clearly, so it's kind of hard to say they stole, they copied each other. Let's see. Yeah, I could see the idea of going down a longer path of having more booby traps and elements. Maybe that's what the DLC where you play as the girl, which is what I assume the reason why she's even in the game, is because of that. I'm gonna have to remember which button is the right button for stasising people. Also, see these little spikes, not helpful. Wouldn't be surprised if there's some collectibles, but let's take a moment and see what we can do. We have 4 things, so if we go with 1 capacity on this, let's see, more damage would be nice. So if I go here and here for damage, it's the same as going here and here, except for the fact that this would save me ever having to put a thing here. So if I do this, this, and then just take the capacity that's here. Like, you really don't need to ever put a point here, or you could put a point here, doesn't matter. Then here, then here, then here, then here. So, slight improvement on the damage for this gun, which is probably a good thing. Because I think more and more I'm going to have to use the pulse rifle. And I'm just telekinesing the solar shield out of the way, I guess. And then...
Mark, I know you're up there. Understand that even if you survive long enough to restore power, there is no escape. All routes in and out of government center are being monitored. Give up, Clarke.
So if you can get the edge of these booby traps, you can shoot them. That's good to know. It's just most of the time you can't. Like, they're way hidden behind things. But they do litter this area with enough items throughout the game. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised if there is a whole DLC where there's just a lot more of this going on. Interesting. I could go get a capacity upgrade again. What I really need is a store. Let's go ahead and make a new save. We are going to have to start to make some decisions around saving. I think I'm only allowed 20 save slots. So they've introduced the idea of walking slowly. Alright. This is something I definitely don't have a lot of. Alright, so I've got to kind of run, but I've also got to be careful not to have things attack me. Let's see. I guess this is what I'm supposed to be hacking. Is there something near me? Yes, there is. So we've got these guys. Just one of them. And how much time do I have? I have 74 seconds. I don't see or hear any more enemies. See, I knew those little guys were going to play a bigger role. Wow, look at my health though. I am not in a good shape. So why didn't she purge life support earlier? That's a different question.
Unauthorized visitor. Mainframe.
Computer, this is Director Titan. Disable all solar array functions immediately.
Initiating system lockdown.
Why didn't he do that earlier?
System lockdown complete.
I'm sorry, Clarke. I know what you're trying to do, and I cannot allow you to succeed. There's too much at stake.
Unauthorized visitor. Mainframe.
So are these different computer AIs that just all look the same? Or are they perhaps, or are they the same AI? I would have thought they were the same AI, but they could be different. Looks like there's something down there, but I guess it's not. It's just a random blue light. There was a point in the first game where you were in a medical place where necromorphs were getting frozen, and you were fighting this really big one that you needed to freeze. Let's see, I can't actually go anywhere either direction, so there's clearly something I need to do here. Oh, here we go. It says reroute. Alright, so we put this down, and I can go to the right, or I can go to the left. I assume you don't get a choice other than those two. Yeah. So, almost certainly the first time we go through here will be fine. Second time we'll get a jump scare. Let's go the place that people are less likely to do. Slightly. We're crawling through some glowing lights. I'm fairly certain very rarely do they create places where you can crawl in computer areas. Like there are perhaps raised floors or some other things you might do, but you're not just gonna...
Unauthorized access to the computer mainframe is a violation of Titan Station Civic Code. Replace all panels and back away from the fuse board.
So... we'll go ahead and use a health pack. So little jump scares. I'm going to take a fuse out and put it in.
Unauthorized visitor, mainframe.
I am not sure if there's kind of any pattern to this, but it seems like one of them went green and the other didn't. But it went purple, maybe a little bluish. Okay. And by doing that, we now can go to a third area. Interesting. And this will probably be a jump scare. But there definitely is a balance here between jump scares and actual danger that certainly has been missing in other games. Ah, yes, this is the achievement that I actually believe was in the first game, the ping item. So I believe this item, there's always ping, which was referenced in the first game. I'm hoping it sells for a lot of money.
Hey Ellie, I need to get this mainframe offline. I'm inside the core.
Try configuring the fuses to match the floor diagram. That should bring up the command podium. I used kinesis on the fuses.
Wait, so you're saying you've done this before?
It's strange, but yes.
See.
Tell me about it sometime, but not now. Kinesis, fuses, match the floor panel. Got it. Thanks.
Unauthorized visitor, Mainframe.
Doesn't seem like there's a way to reroute it here. So maybe ping sells for a lot of money? I'm not sure I even really need a lot of money. But also, if there was some kind of achievement for holding on to ping and taking it to the end of the game on the Steam version, that is just not a thing. So when I look at this, it's square and then a little signpost, square signpost, diagonal, and plus sign. So those all worked. Where was the floor? And see, yeah, that definitely is more implication that this game was designed, this part in particular was designed to sell the side project, the DLC side game. But to be fair, at least when this game came out, DLC side games were side games, and it's not just, oh, you don't even get to experience this or play this unless you've purchased the original game. Nowadays there's well, even at this time and a few years later, you would start to see DLC elements that weren't really worth having and weren't really connected to the game. As digital downloading became more of a thing, it starts to make a little bit more sense to separate elements, keeping everything. Let's see. I looked the wrong direction. Floor panels. Like, oh, here's a floor panel. Okay.
Unauthorized visitor. Mainframe.
But that's the same pattern as what we did already anyway, so. Apparently it doesn't want it in that combination. Well, you know what, we'll just figure this out. Interesting. Did I not arrange the other one correctly, I guess? Wow, that's kind of crazy that you would just stupidly do a combination. And sure, maybe I had done that part earlier. But that would have been years and years ago.
Proceed with caution.
Okay. So I have to go back again. So it's just gonna keep on talking to me. And one assumes the AI has no clue that anything is going on with the necromorphs. I mean, it seems relatively dumb. It seems like it can actually see what you're doing, but it couldn't tell that I was carrying the dead body of the engineer.
Unauthorized visitor. Mainframe.
So yeah, I just did a different code, and that somehow worked. And I guess we'll see what happens here.
Mainframe.
Just gonna knock that out of the way. So this will deactivate that. Oh, and this part would have told me the code. I guess. Maybe. Maybe that was always there as a hint. So how are we doing as far as inventory? I hope this sells for something. We are kind of low on bullets. We're slowly getting some flame fuel. I haven't been using any of that. We're on chapter 7 and I feel like we're going to reach chapter 8 pretty quickly here. We have our first large med pack. And right now my armor is a security armor with 15% armor. So unless I was to use some of the DLC elements, I also have 4 nodes, which is nice. Yeah, unless I was to start using some of the DLC elements and trying to get the armor up even higher, I think I am at the point where I'm supposed to be. Well, that's going to be it for this recording. Apologies if the audio is a little bit different. I had to redo all of the settings on this game when I uninstalled the Windows 10 April update. Hopefully, no more lockups. Hopefully, we'll be fine. It really sucks in the long run when 10, 20 years down the line, this video may be watched by somebody in their talk and they're hearing about me complaining about Windows 10 when they potentially may still be on Windows 10 or Windows 20 at that point. Who knows? It's not good content, certainly, but it is kind of the problem. If there is a problem with playing games on PC, is that if your operating system causes you trouble, if your hardware causes you trouble, if you just haven't stayed up and spent enough money to buy a good enough video card or enough RAM or enough hard drive space, everything can snowball and create little problems. But on the other hand, you get a pretty nice looking experience. You don't have to generally pay to play online, and you generally spend a lot less money on games. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.